Mr. Mayor, thank you, Council, for having me come up. The issue is big. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Newspapers and radio and all sorts of fun stuff. Initially, when I wanted to write the letter and ask the signatories that are signed in the letter, there was nothing else out there. We wanted to address what we had. Part of what we experienced when we were on the campaign trail. Ms. Young's covered everything beautifully, actually, for us. Speaking to the candidates, when we were on Essex, we were talking to people. People quite often, more often than expected, would say, we don't like the literature because we're not voting. We're not voting because of the method chosen and all the rest of it. And usually it was more elderly people. And we didn't have an answer for them. Like, as people that have reviewed the whole process and everything else, some of us had read minutes or if you know what's going on. They were telling me later on that the phone system, when they phoned in, didn't read the full slate. It was just, I don't know who didn't read the full slate of names to the end. So when, I don't know if my name was read or not, it doesn't really matter. The other thing about the letter, it's not written in the spirit of sour grapes. It's not a name and shame letter. It's just, we thought it would be a way to bring forward the issue that we have a lot of concerns and we're not going to do. And the old issue of security and all the points that came made where it should be dealt with. Part of the thing is the legitimacy of the process. We can't really say that it seems to us like it's a legitimate election because we can't go back to the Election Act. Kim mentioned we have ballot boxes. I'd asked in the letter for printed ballots and printed off and recounted, but obviously you can't have them in the Election Act. It's not set up to accommodate what the Act asked for. So it's moot, short of actually asking somebody in administration to print off IP addresses, compare who voted at the time, different places, and see if they correspond, because that would be very expensive. So at this time, I just wanted to hope somehow that none of this is that the administration could conduct a thorough review presentation to the next council. But obviously, the council can't make it about it. It's a past issue. The election, the results are there, and I think we have a fine council elected. I'll be very proud of having been Kingsville to see these new slates actually work on it. I would like to see the next council have a full review presented to them from administration. I think that's another. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I think you certainly committed to having that full review presented. All of the past administration on their own behalf. But that's the expectation is that the new council will have the full review results, participation rates, the sectors that voted, and basically every detail that we can find will be presented to the new members of council. Any questions to Mr. Councillor Clean?
Not so much a question, Mr. Mayor. I support your initiative in terms of making sure that the new council gets all the facts. And all the facts have to include the data that was presented to this council because this was made. I go back to the Ballot Act of 1872. It was a legislation passed in the United Kingdom that basically entitled the residents to a secret ballot. I, like the Krauss, encountered the same thing where we had members of the community say they were deprived of that opportunity to do a secret ballot using this method. That being the case, we've also alluded to standards or percentages. We as a council would vote how much better the percentages would be. 52% versus 48 isn't a great figure. But when you go back to the archives, it is difficult. When you look at Cotsfield South, 1988 Cotsfield South only voted 44% for the polling stations, whereas the old town of Kingsville was 58%. I can appreciate that swing, but Mr. Mayor, I would move that we receive this and look forward to the new council receiving that detailed report. Looking for a second.
Thank you. Thank you. Second for that motion. Councillor Pearson, any questions on the motion?
Just comment. Comment is that something went wrong. Clearly people are dissatisfied, upset. It didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. It didn't turn out the way it was intended. We didn't get what we bought. We were sold a bill of goods that didn't turn out to be right. And the only place in the county that got their ballots on time was Essex, who'd had the paper ballots. What's wrong with this picture? So I appreciate that everybody wants to blame everybody, but I too can accept blame because I bought what I was sold, and I wasn't watching out carefully enough. And so it's never bad to admit that something didn't work out like you thought it would, because everybody's trying to do the best they can. So clearly, this report comes back, and clearly, it's got to show the holes in this whole thing. For the next council who participated in this election, I didn't go door to door, so I didn't hear those complaints, but I heard them generally from other people. Clearly, the result is that what we know now about this company makes it imperative, an obligation on the new council to have our staff be very critical of what happened. And I think I said last time when we tried to reconsider this, I would surely like to accept for that procedural bylaw in a way, but the last time I didn't know when I wanted to reconsider this, title was from Spain. I'm not interested in outsourcing. So I would have said no for that very reason alone. I'm not interested in a computer somewhere else keeping track of it. If there's enough need for locals to be given work and jobs and being trusted in their own community. So, the whole thing is a fiasco, really and truly. Everyone feels really bad about it. Mr. Mayor, people have to put aside what happened and their own individual involvement in it, look at it objectively and say something's got to change. And if that's going to be the next council that does it, they've got a very good job, and I wish them well in doing it.
And just clarify, it was Amherstburg that was the paper ballot, not Essex, which was by mail. Right. Any other questions on the motion on the receiving?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment. Hindsight is always very, very clear, and it's easy to be a critic. This council went into this fully expecting much better results. We were disappointed, and I'll be surprised if administration isn't very disappointed in their report forthcoming. That being said, we've got some time now to get it right for the next time. I'm sure the new council is going to listen to that petition. That was a big petition. I wish that petition would have been circulated a little earlier, because we advertised it, and the word was out. There was letters written to Mr. Gunning's in attendance. There was certainly a letter written to the Kingsville Reporter that I read, urging people to come out. And they did not come out, as Mr. Gunning will attest. So, hindsight, like I say, is very clear. And I have the full confidence in the new council to get it right. And hopefully they take a look at some alternatives as well. Thank you.
I have a question on that issue.
You're not recognized as one of the group members that have asked for a delegation.
That is on the same issue.
It's a procedure, unless council wants to leave the alley.
This is a question to follow here.
I need to follow procedure, so unless council opens the floor to allow. Sorry, procedure doesn't permit that, so I can't look beyond that. Without council direction.
No point to say.
On that motion then, any further questions or comments?
What are we here for?
All in favor of the receipt, opposed, any motion carried.